Hey guys, and welcome to the beautiful madness of Total War Warhammer once again. We shall be leading the mighty forces of Norsca up against the Phoenix King and his favourite High Elf forces. Now this game is going to be a little bit of a silly one. It was quite late at night, and looks like both of us were in the mood to meme slightly. I'm actually going to pause this battle as it does get underway rather quickly, but nonetheless it shall still be a top game. So for our own forces, we do have a just wave after wave of naked, angry fanatics. That is Marauders. We have a mixture of the basic ones, as well as great weapons mixed on in there. Backing them up, we do have some Marauder Berserkers. Unfortunately, because of the deployment zone, we couldn't go as wide as I wanted, so we've had to kind of force ourselves to go for a little bit of a flank overload on this side with a couple of extra units, as well as our characters. And speaking of our characters, we're going to be playtesting here the Skinwolf Werkin, a unit which I don't get to see terribly often, mainly due to the fact it is ridiculously overpriced, but apart from that, it can be pretty good. It comes in with Ruinous Flesh, which does give missile resistance and armor to nearby homies. It has Foe Seeker and Deadly Onslaught, so certainly can bring the pain to the enemy. Alongside him, riding dirty on his horse, shall be Wulfric the Wanderer, coming in with all of the goodies, of course. We have double Marauder Ice Wolf chariots as well, chariots you don't get to see terribly often. We have a Familiar Belfiend of Fire coming in with Burning Head, Fireball, which are both very competitive, and Scroll of Shielding, and the rather uncompetitive Piercing Bolts of Burning. This is an amazing damage spell, but the reason it is pretty much useless is it takes so long, 9 seconds I believe, maybe not quite 9 seconds, that might be the duration of the spell, but it takes a very, very long time to actually cast, so most opponents of any kind of medium skill level will just avoid it. We do have a War Mammoth as well with a War Shrine looking particularly badass today. Hope this guy is drumming away on the top of there, and it does come in with a Favour of the Ruinous Powers, given extra leadership, but also Giver of Glory, though that does imbue fire damage, which can be a little bit of a problem up against the forces of the High Elves. For the High Elves, we do have an insane amount of Elven Reaver archers here to try to counter any skirmish cavalry myself has brought, but likewise, they don't do much AP, but Norsca in general don't have much armour. We have Spearmen dotted along the line, so relatively cheap and cheerful, backed up by Serious and Elite. We have double Swordmasters of Hoeth, we have some Dragon Princes, a Mage of Life, kind of Earthblood and Regrowth, and then we have Aenarion Reborn. So my opponent was taunting me before the game saying he was going to bring Aenarion to the battlefield. For some reason I thought he meant Tyrion, but he actually means the legendary warrior of old. And, well, at least a copy of him. Coming in here with his own blade, which is actually a really nice buff. Extra melee attack and armor-piercing weapon damage. Stand your ground, Deadly Onslaught, the Bane Shield, Foe Seeker, all that good stuff. We'll have to see how Aenarion does fare today, or if the Bane of Aenarion shall be Wulfric the Wanderer this time. So the Marauders are going to be running forward, shields raised, absorbing some of the damage from the Reavers, and we're going to be pushing in with our Marauder Ice Wolf chariots, just to try to distract them and drive them away from our key targets. We can also fire on the move, so we are doing a little bit of damage. My opponent, though, is going to react with this by jumping down with the Prince, and this is a bit of a problem sometimes with the Mighty Dragon. They can get stuck on the ground, so we pop 100 champions, lowering the speed and armor and melee defense of this beast, and we're already whacking it pretty damn good. Also some thrown axes coming in, and it even stutters there, but there are Dragon Princes looking to charge in to try to save the day, but the Marauder Great Weapons will countercharge them. We do try to actually drop one of the Piercing Bolts of Burning, because my opponent had really wrapped his entire force around this unit of chariots, but then they rather swiftly moved back, and the spell is dodged. Down on the ground, the Skinwolf Werkin, with its weakness to fire, is not enjoying the company of this gigantic dragon, who's really doing a pretty good display so far. You can see the Bane Shield actually works on nearby allies as well, increasing their armor. But the Dragon Princes are starting to suffer under the mighty cleaving axes of the Marauders with great weapons. And likewise, the Prince is taking some damage, but Wulfric and the Skinwolf Werkin definitely getting the worst of the trades. And it looks like a big breath attack is going to come down on Wulfric. I spotted this in-game and tried to dodge, but he's pinned in by the Dragon Princes, and alas, there's naught we can do. But we do have the War Mammoth War Shrine on this left-hand side, and it's going to drive hard to punch through the Swordmasters of Hoeth, a perfect target for it, though all the Reaver Archer Skirmish Cal, of course, is going to be just sitting in the back dishing out some pain. Although we do get a nice little boat going along the line, killing a few of those pesky Reavers, or at least doing some HP damage at the end of the day. The Prince has taken a bit of a beating, but at the same time, so has Wulfric. In fact, Wulfric has been slammed by the might of Aenarion, chased off down to just 500 HP. Not looking too good for him. Luckily, the Skinwolf Werkin is really giving it to the Prince right now, and if he's attacking him from behind like this, he's going to reap a deadly carnage upon him. But a cheeky regrowth, Overcast in fact, is going to increase his HP by 2,000, which is wild. Dragon Princes have been forced off, but the Marauder Ice Wolf Chariots are now free to rain into the back of the Aenarion Reavers, and we still have a gigantic mammoth at the end of the day. Balance power is against us, but we're certainly not out of this yet. On the right-hand side, we've managed to isolate these Swordmasters of Hoeth, and as you can see, the giant war mammoth is going to be trotting over here, swinging back and forth, trying his best Mumukai impression, and is rather comfortably going to be able to break the Swordmasters on this right-hand side, and that's going to be the aim of the game for us. Isolate pockets of infantry. We can't really do anything about the pesky skirmish cav. We're just going to have to send marauders at them and hope the ammunition is wasted. We do have a cheeky little attempt with our Ice Wolf Chariots to go after that Jade Wizard, because they're a big problem in this game, healing up the Prince like this. The Prince was getting a little bit danger low. You can even see with the Overcast Regrowth, he's not back up to full health. So imagine the damage we could have done if that pesky Mage of Life wasn't hit. Dragon Princes are going to be trying to jump on top of Wulfric, so we're going to rotate our army back to try to protect our Liege Lord, as he has come back, which is very good news for us. Foeseeker boosting his speed a little bit to get to the safety of what is now a rather angry Viking fist. And we're moving around as a big old blob trying to isolate units. The Swordmasters are one such foe who cannot escape us, though there are some Heralds of the Wind charging in, doing a nice little bit of lancing damage before fleeing once more before the might of Norsca. War Mammoth pops Fight or Die, or Wulfric does I should say, increasing all our leadership and melee attack. The Swordmasters are really starting to struggle quite badly. Another boat does come in trying to counter the Reavers. It's not really our only play, is to hit them with boats and burning heads and the like, but unfortunately they have all fled once more, and the Berserker's taken quite a pounding. Big problem for us here is going to be Wulfric is dead, basically. Before this next engagement starts, Wulfric is dead. There is zero chance we can save him from a charge of the Prince. So it's, can I keep my forces together? Because we have a decent amount of infantry and a very healthy War Mammoth who can go toe-to-toe if supported with by the Skin of Werkin up against the Prince. But a lovely breath attack is going to bathe the War Mammoth in holy fire. I predicted my opponent was going to charge in to counter to follow that up. So I pop 100 champions on him, but he does not care one bit. With one fell swoop, he slaughters Wulfric and then escapes off into the night once more. However, we do manage to kill. It looks like the majority of the Reavers that did engage here. There are some Dragon Princes coming back as well, but things are starting to look really bleak for the forces of the Vikings, as the Skin Wolf Werkin is now the next opponent for Aenarion to try to snipe. But the War Mammoth shall charge into the deep one more time as we line up a piercing bolt of burning. It looks like my opponent doesn't spot it this time, so 5,400 HP all the way down there, all the way down to 2,700, but alas, it came a tiny bit too late, and the War Mammoth was already broken at this point and running for its life. If that had come a little bit earlier, the War Mammoth might have actually had a bit of a chance up against the Prince, as a lot of the Reaver cavalry are out of ammunition at this point, but we're really on the back foot now. There's not much chance of us getting back into this one. We're down to just 51 models, which is basically nothing. Our hopes remain in the War Mammoth as well as the Skin of Werkin, somehow killing the Prince and then tear out in the enemy, but unfortunately, the Skin of Werkin has been ordered to fight alone right now, and we get another Overcast Regrowth coming down on the Prince, getting some lovely HP back. A lot of Big Burning Head does go down, the Heralds of the Wind. They've done a relatively solid job today, being pretty impressed. 847 damage value isn't, nothing to laugh at. The Ice Wolf Chariots did manage to come back. We're trying to get back here to support the War Mammoth. A big breath attack does come in, but we have the moves like Jagger, of course. War Mammoth managing to juke the majority of that damage, but the Prince is going to be able to break us on a charge, and army losses kicks in. And unfortunately, the mighty Vikings do fall. A valiant defeat, though, and a really fun game. Well played to the Phoenix King. He got me this time. I shall have my revenge, let it be known. But yeah, Aenarion, man, the Prince on Dragon, a option you basically never see getting picked. Unfortunately, dragons can get stuck on the ground, and if we'd managed to pin him in the early stages, he did a really good job bringing his Dragon Princes up to stop that from happening. Dragons can be dragged down by like cheap infantry. It's really bad, but when they do get up in the sky, get those breath attacks, good charges on characters and gooning potential, they can be rather powerful. 3.8k damage value here, over 10,000 damage dealt, 5 kills, but that doesn't matter if those 5 kills are all very important. We will go through the damage dealt and damage value and kills of all of the units in just a second. But if you guys enjoyed this replay, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up. Subscribe as well to the channel for more content into the future. Hit that bell icon if you want. I've never said that before. It feels weird to me. But I think I've got the bell icon on like maybe 2 YouTube channels. But yeah, feel free to do that as well. It gives you a little bit of a notice if I am uploading videos and going live and all that good stuff. Feel free to comment down below as well what you thought of the battle, what you thought of the Prince on Dragon. Is it competitive? Probably not, but is it fun? Oh, hell yeah. And this game all round was honestly a joy to play and a joy to look back and cast over. If you guys want, you can also support the channel. There are links down below in the description to my Patreon where you can do that, as well as a link to my Discord. So you can hop on the Discord, send me replays, get involved in tournaments and events I host, all that kind of cool stuff. But on to the damage dealt and damage value, we'll whip it back across to Norsca and see how he fared. Warfric the Wanderer, though he was kind of hammered pretty early on, still got 800 damage value, not terrible. Again, not great, but not terrible either. The Familiar Belfiend of Fire got just shy of 2,000 damage value, basically all of it coming from that last Bolts of Piercing, or Piercing Bolts of Burning. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too late, but still did good work. And the Skinwolf Werkin, I was actually impressed with 1,600 damage value, considering the majority of the time he was trying to fight a freaking dragon, which does fire damage, which is obviously very good against him because of that regen. He performed pretty damn well. Marauders across the board didn't do too much action realistically. I mean, we killed the Spearmen and managed to eventually surround and break the Swordmasters, but that wasn't the point of my opponent's build. Berserkers getting a rather respectable 72 kills and 723 damage value. The Chariots weren't used particularly well by me. We completely forgot about one after the mid-game. And yeah, but basically they were our only counter to the Reavers, but they were very hard to protect up against that Dragon. The War Mammoth as well got in the game a little bit late, only 835 damage value, but does look pretty badass, and that's got to count for something. As for the Phoenix King, already gone over the Prince that we have dubbed Aenarion Reborn here. 3.8 damage value, that's so good, over 10k damage dealt. Major Life, of course, gets no value or damage dealt, but did pop multiple regrowths onto the Prince to keep him alive and happy. Spearmen got slaughtered, Swordmasters were a mixed bag. 700 damage value is solid, 93 kills, but 1.168 is very, very good. Or 1,168 damage value, I should say. 105 kills, 10k damage dealt, pretty damn solid choice. Dragon Princes were arguably my MVPs. You may be surprised at this, but without them, that dragon would most likely have been dragged down in the early stages of the game and be finished off. Werkin and Warfric hitting a Hunter championed large target, which is really easy to strike, really did not bode well for the Prince. So the Dragon Princes coming in, lovely use of the shot cav, 1,413 damage value, over 100 kills and over 10k damage dealt. Elite Reavers were here to really counter my skirmish cav, which of course, if we were going super competitive, with Norsca, basically in almost, I want to say every single matchup, I'm trying to film on my head, you want at least 4 to 5 skirmish cav every single game, regardless of what you're up against. And these are quite a nice counter to them in general though. 800 damage value, 655, 764, and 847. We just had nothing to contest them once those chariots went out, and then they did a pretty decent job firing into the ranks of the Vikings. That's where you get Vikings, you need to learn to use horses. But guys, until next time, peace, peace, and as always, stay awesome.